Hi, I'm Scott Wrighton. I serve as the Decatur City Manager, and every week we have these videos to give you a little bit of insight direct from city government about the activities of your city government. This is the last of these weekly videos that we will have in 2021. We will continue them in 2022. But because this is the last of these videos for 2021, I thought that I would highlight some of the major things that the Mayor and City Council and our city organization have done in 2021. First, I want to focus on a topic that came to the Mayor and Council several times during the course of 21, and that has to do with our stewardship of Lake Decatur. The City Council over several years has been doing some additional planning for how we augment the source of water that we have to make sure that we can not only meet our future needs and the needs of industry, but also have more resilience in order to deal with future droughts. The City Council earlier this month entered into a new contract worth nearly $13 million for the replacement of a major part of our treatment system at the South Water Treatment Plant on South Martin Luther King that will enable that plant, along with some other improvements there, to continue to provide high quality water to the citizens of Decatur for another third of a century. We're also engaged in watershed management. The city several years ago spent in excess of $95 million to dredge the lake. While the benefit of that was that it increased our water capacity by about 30%, it was very expensive. And so one of the ways that we can avoid that expense in the future is to do a better job of managing the erosion and the siltation that goes into the lake, not only in the immediate area around Lake Decatur, but upstream in the larger Upper Sangamon watershed. We also made some decisions related to the lake in other aspects, such as starting a new program to replace some of the docks along the lake in what we call Basin Number 2, and to partner with the Park District of Decatur and G&H Marine for those improvements that will eventually, we hope, lead to a more full-service marina in that area. Again, all part of our stewardship of one of the most important assets of Decatur, and that is Lake Decatur. The Mayor and Council also made significant investments this year and will do so again in 2022 with regard to demolition, stepping up significantly the number and extent of demolitions of properties that sadly are just too derelict and in such bad repair that there's no alternative left to the city but to demolish them. A feature of this community development expenditure that will be added to in 2022, based on the budget approved by the Mayor and Council, is several million dollars of investment in rehab. Now, we've always spent some money rehabbing existing structures every year with money we receive from the federal government through their Community Development Block Grant Program. But with the assistance of ARP funds and some other sources, we're able to significantly increase the amount of money that's going into rehab this year, in 2022. And in fact, as early as the next City Council meeting in January, the City Council will be looking at some specific ways to do that. We spent a lot of time in 2021 prepping for the Brush College Ferries Parkway project, which will close that intersection and be sadly a major inconvenience for about 2 years, but when it's done, it is a significant improvement in transportation, both rail, truck, and other surface transportation there on the east side of the city. 2022 is also going to see, as a result of planning that governments did in 2021, the replacement of the William Street Bridge deck. The Rays Bridge project will also go to bid early in 2021. And I want to talk a little bit as well about Highway 51 between Pershing and El Dorado. In cooperation with the Department of Transportation and the city, a lot of work was done on state routes in Decatur this last year, especially that new asphalting on Highway 36 out across the lake all the way past Mount Zion Road and several other locations. In fact, we've already done an agreement with the state that next year will also mean the similar sort of improvement on the west part of 36 between Fairview, Route 48, and Church Street, just on the west side of the Central Business District. But a major project that many of you have noticed because you drive up and down like all of us do on 51 every day is the condition of Business 51 between Pershing and El Dorado. 2 years ago, the city approached DOT and said, we need to look at this project differently. This is a neighborhood that we want to make sure that we're not just doing a repavement of the area, but also claiming some of that space back because we don't need 4 lanes of traffic in each direction. The streetscape and the boulevard area needs to be looked at differently with better lighting, better pedestrian access, and better curbs and gutters, make it more friendly for people who are not using motorized traffic. We had a tough time, I gotta tell you. DOT was resistant to that, but in the end, the City Council's view prevailed, and we were able to get DOT to look at this differently and to hire a design engineer that will produce a project that will have a completely separate off-road hike bike trail on the northbound Water Street, and bring in the lanes a little bit, make it look so much better, and I think contribute directly to the mayor and council's goals for neighborhood rehabilitation in that area of the city north of El Dorado. That's the good news. The bad news is that getting a redesign, getting the Department of Transportation to think fundamentally differently about this urban section of highway has the effect of delaying the improvements that are so very much needed in that section of 51. So we hope that you'll be patient with us, and early in the new year we'll be having some town meetings to disclose in greater detail some of the things that are going on with that section of highway and exactly what it'll look like, because a picture is worth 1,000 words, and when we have that open house, we'll have some pictures and drawings about it. One of the other things that the City Council worked hard to do is to hold the line with regard to taxes and fees. And although our costs continue to go up, especially because of inflationary pressures, the City Council kept property taxes flat. They made no increases in sales taxes. They made no increases in food and beverage taxes. They made no increases in utility taxes, and most of our fees are relatively flat. Nevertheless, costs are going up, and so they had to scratch their heads and say, what is it that we can do? What's the best way to approach our revenue requirements, but still not increase these taxes that sometimes fall disproportionately on people or are somewhat regressive? And so one of the areas that they're doing that is in the area of video gaming, by increasing the fees on video gaming and enacting what's called a push tax, where every time you push that button to make that wager, there's a penny that goes to the local government. We have to be creative and tax in areas that are less regressive, and this was one of several that the council will be looking at ahead as we try to shift away from some of those legacy taxes, so that general taxation doesn't increase, and instead more focused ones where there's specific services or goods provided in exchange for the fees that we provide. Finally, and especially since all of you probably are preparing for some parties with regard to New Year's, we hope that you have a happy New Year, but we hope that it's safe as well. And hopefully you've seen, but I'll point it out anyway, that the number of COVID cases continues to rise, and this is a great concern. And although Omicron variant has not been in Macon County yet, it's already been reported in Sangamon County, and so we expect them to happen here. Please take the precautions necessary to be safe for all of the friends and family that you interact with at New Year's. Please consider social distancing, to getting the vaccine, and if you go into an establishment that you feel unsafe because they're flagrantly disobeying those basic protocols, then don't patronize that business. Be safe. I look forward to giving you more information next week, next year, and so again, Happy New Year.